Stanford University.
So now we're going to shift gears. Some of that fabulous funding that was provided by the Blackie Foundation and by Ray Stewart and Lou Pappas has turned into a project, a second year now, with Full Circle Farm. So all at once, I'm going to introduce them. They're going to come up one after the other. Wolfram Alderson, the executive director of Full Circle Farm. Aaron Bird, who graduated from the STEP program here in education, who's our farm educator. Gustavo Chavez, Brittany Reimer. Juan Reynoso is in Chile, and he's not going to Skype in, so he's in spirit. And my son Jackson Gardner worked on it too, and he couldn't get a train back from Davis to be here. So these are your four speakers. Please welcome the Full Circle Farm team.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me here, and it's really an honor to be in the room with so much talent. And it's been an absolute pleasure to partner with Stanford University and Christopher and these bright young minds here. Full Circle Farm is an 11-acre community-based farm that is only possible today after 4 years because of the work of thousands of volunteers, students, interns, and so many community members. Full Circle Farm really must be experienced. So my first comment to you is please come to the farm and visit us. We're located in Sunnyvale. You can go to fullcirclesunnyvale.org. We're open 7 days a week. Certainly love to know if you're coming, but you don't need to be invited. You can just drop in. We have a farm stand and a CSA and a lot of activities, programs, and things going on, like I said, every day of the week. I have a few comments, and I'll try to be brief. The first slide here that you see behind me is reflecting some of the absolute joy and the moments of magic that are possible when children are at the farm, when all of us are at the farm. Changing behaviors and changing the food system is really most effective when we're actually doing it in the context of this kind of environment, and we can really start to change the rules and really change the food system and our own behaviors. Whether you're in couch potato mode or in a classroom, you're disconnected from the food system. And so these moments of magic that we have at the farm, the experience that we provide is really critical to making change. The Stanford students here had the challenge of conducting a summer camp and also trying to collect clinical data about the changes that are happening with the kids that are participating at the farm. And that's challenging because what we do is profoundly experiential. So I really admire the work that they did while being part of the experience as well as being researchers. So it's a great challenge that they've taken on. The next slide reveals just a small sliver. If I can get the next slide up. Great. Just a small sliver of the community that surrounds and supports the farm and enables all of its work to be possible. The entire farm over the last 4 years has been built literally by thousands of volunteers. Our small staff is leveraged by thousands of volunteers coming from many segments of the community, individuals, corporations, educational institutions, faith-based groups. We live and breathe on the volunteer spirit and partnerships and the strategy of engaging the broadest possible spectrum in the community. Last year, we received more than twice the value of our cash budget in in-kind donations and volunteer support. And the model of our farm is really built on 3 legs: education, production, and community being the most important crop that we have at the farm. The last slide here really brings it down to the individual level, which is you. Ultimately, you are the food system. The food system is not an abstract concept. It's multidimensional and ultimately driven by producers and consumers. And it's so much fun and transformational to actually move from being a passive participant in the food system to being actively engaged. And that's part of the real magic that happens at the farm and what can't happen in a classroom or cafeteria. And we're only really beginning to measure in scientific terms what that experience of really being engaged in producing food is about. I mean, there's a physical aspect, nutritional aspects, there's so many aspects to that, but really at the core of it is something magical, and that's hard to define in clinical terms. So I encourage you to visit us and experience it firsthand and see what it's all about. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about the research that's being done here, and I think we'll be available afterwards to answer questions and talk to you more if you want to know more about what we're doing at the farm. Thank you.
Get the clicker. Okay. So my name is Erin Bird, and I'm the summer camp director for Full Circle Farm. And for this project, I got to work as liaison for Stanford and for Full Circle. And this was a partnership that brought together both education and research. This was the heart of our project. It's also the basis for community-based research, which aims to learn about and solve community problems. So we had 2 goals for this project. First, we wanted to see how exposing kids, campers, to different fruits and vegetables could alter their eating preferences and attitudes towards fruits and vegetables. Secondly, as this was a summer camp, we wanted to do this in the most fun, engaging, exciting, and memorable way possible. These 2 combined goals play upon what Dr. Gardner calls stealth health. And the key to stealth health is to have people connect to the food that they are eating. And we're going to show you a little video clip that shows you stealth health. And this is our youngest group of campers. They are 5 to 7-year-olds. So summer camp is fun, right? And it's very unlikely that, or I should say it's likely that many of these campers didn't realize that the whole basis for our camp was to stealthily engage them in healthy eating, healthy living activities. And that's really the beauty of stealth health and stealth education. So this video was made by one of our counselors, Jackson Gardner, who was also one of our high school interns and unfortunately was unable to be here today. So at the end of each day of camp, we sent families an email home with videos, pictures, and recipes of the meals that their campers had prepared for lunch. And this was a way to draw families in to our stealth health experiences. It was also, well, I should say, another way that we encouraged family involvement is we sent our campers home with fresh vegetables from the farm and challenged campers to come back the next day with stories of the meals that they prepared. And this also opened the discussion for families to share with us. So there was this one family who told us that their 9 and 8-year-old daughters were eager to go grocery shopping with them. And they would walk up and down the produce aisle, not only identifying all the different fruits and vegetables that they had become familiar with, but how to cook with them, how to make meals from them. So at the end of each week of camp, we invited families to come out for a 5-plant-part pizza party and potluck. And family would come out and enjoy handmade, oven-baked pizza, or fire-baked pizza that was just loaded with vegetables that, and I realize I've been forgetting to do the slides, that was loaded with vegetables that the campers had nurtured and harvested and prepared for this pizza party. And this is really what the beauty of community-based research is. Not only was it a way for us to learn how exposing these campers to fruits and vegetables would alter their eating preferences, but it's an educational tool. Furthermore, community-based research provides opportunities. So we had 130 campers come to the farm. Over half of them were on or had full or partial scholarships. So community-based research really is a way to inform, inspire, and to change lives. It is a very collaborative process, which Gustavo will elaborate upon.
Thanks, Erin. So, as a student in the human biology department, I understand that health is done at the community level, the places we eat, the places we grow, the places we live. So when I first heard about Full Circle Farm Summer Camp, I thought it was a great opportunity to work with a community organization and also community members on a health-related issue. Summer Camp was exactly that. So we worked with various different key members at the Full Circle Farm. Here, we're actually helping Rose, the general manager of the farm, pick vegetables for the community-supported agriculture. We picked cabbages, corn, lettuce, a bunch of other different vegetables, some of which the kids were able to take home and share with their families. When we partnered up with Full Circle Farm, we aim to further their goals, which is to change the way that community members eat, grow, and get their food. We also work with Charlie, the orchard manager. Right now, he's planting a fig tree. And the children are surrounding him, learning from him how to plant a fig tree, how much time and effort it goes into making one fig. And that's a very valuable learning experience for the kids. And also, it strengthened our ties with the community farm. So right here, we're helping actually weed the orchard. It was a valuable learning experience for the kids. Not only did we work with Full Circle Farm, but we also reached out to the community. With the advice of Dr. Lee Sanders, a community-based participatory researcher, we set out to establish a community advisory board. This advisory board consisted of a local physician, parents, and also other members of the community invested in Full Circle Farm. We met with them before our summer camp started and afterwards. They provided us with valuable information such as recruiting information and feedback on our goals and also focal points to cover in our curriculum and activities. So overall, I was pretty pleased with working with a wide variety of people. And also, we hope that by putting effort into working with Full Circle Farm and our community, we're able to establish the summer camp as a long-term sustainable program. At the end of the summer, we shared some of our successes and challenges, and also shared our research findings with our community advisory board, some of which my partner Brittany will discuss.
The academic components of this community-based research project was to study whether or not our camp could influence the vegetable preferences of our campers. What makes that question academically relevant within the literature is the short time frame of our camp. There have been a lot of studies that investigate whether or not a semester-long gardening program where students meet for an hour, half an hour, once a week will change vegetable preferences. But what hasn't been investigated academically is whether or not a short-term, high-intensity program, such as a summer camp, where students are fully immersed in a healthy eating, healthy living culture, but only for a short-term period of time, whether or not that type of exposure will change vegetable preferences. So that's what we were really trying to investigate. And to look into this question, we had a mixed methods approach. So on the quantitative side, we gave all of our campers vegetable preference surveys and vegetable attitude surveys. Within that vegetable preference survey, we looked at 15 different vegetables and asked them to rate on a 5-point Likert scale their preference for that vegetable. We had a visual dot system because they're kids and visuals were very helpful with that. And then we gave them the same survey at the end of camp. We did the same type of 5-point Likert scale with 5 attitude questions as well, such as, I like trying new vegetables, or I like vegetables at home. So that was the quantitative side of the data. And our results are very encouraging. As you can see in this table, there was an increase in all 15 of the vegetables that we surveyed. 13 of the 15 were statistically significant. The 2 that weren't were carrots, which started at a very high baseline value. For some reason, all kids coming in really like carrots and no other vegetables. It's a mystery of camp. And jicama, which had a smaller sample size because we had a question mark option. Many kids used it who weren't familiar with jicama. So the results of that quantitative data is very encouraging. For the attitude questions we surveyed, there's a similar story. There were increases in all, and in this case, all 5 of the attitude responses that we asked about were statistically significant. Now, to understand why these changes were occurring, we supplemented our quantitative data with qualitative analysis as well. And to do that, we had 2 main sources of data collection. At the end of every camp, we ran focus groups with the campers and recorded those focus groups, so trying to get an understanding of what camp meant to each individual camper, and then analyze those for qualitative themes. We also had campers fill out camper journals in sit spots. So for a sit spot, at the end of every day at camp, all the campers would disperse throughout the farm, find whatever place they felt like sitting and reflecting for about 20 minutes at the end of camp, and just write in their journal about what was impacting them, what they remembered, what they enjoyed, what they didn't. And we used a similar qualitative analysis method on these journals to try and really understand what was making these changes that we were seeing in the quantitative data. So we identified 3 main themes from that qualitative data. The first of which, it looks like you can't read this slide. Well, the image that is on, okay, there it is. I just had to wait for it. In this journal entry, a young camper is reflecting on how he didn't want to try a yam at first, but then he did, and now he likes it a little bit. And he didn't really, and something else new that he tried today was raspberries, and now he likes them a whole lot. They're delicious. And this, I think, is a really key example of our first qualitative finding, which is overcoming a mental fear of trying new vegetables with a very physical learning-based approach. So in the case of this camper, we had made veggie Thai curry for lunch, and he was on yams. He was on chopping yams. So he had the yams in his hands and really overcome that mental barrier through being able to interact with it in a physical manner. And he had harvested raspberries for part of the berry dressing on our salad. And so I think the combination of having a mental fear and a physical way to overcome it was a key component of our camp. The second qualitative theme that we identified is a sense of empowerment, a sense of ownership over their food choices that campers developed throughout camp. So this young camper is talking about how when she grows up, she really thinks that she can have her own garden, her own mini farm in her house, and she's excited to do that. We gave campers a great amount of trust and responsibility during camp. They were cooking their own food, they were doing garden tasks, things that they normally only see adults do, and we gave them trust and responsibility to do it themselves. And I think that that really created a sense of food empowerment around the campers and ability to make their own food choices and decisions. That is expressed in this journal, in this camper journal response. And the final qualitative theme that we identified is a sense of connection to nature and understanding that they're part of an interconnected natural system. A lot of campers would talk about how their week at camp was the first time during the summer where they hadn't watched TV that day. And that was something that was really unusual for a great majority of our campers. And having time to go into sit spots, reflect on seeing bees buzzing around them, and understanding that those bees are a part of our food system and an essential component of what it means to produce food. Understanding that there are different seasons and fruits come in waves throughout the year. All of these understandings of the complexities of our food system and their relationship to nature as a whole also seem to really impact kids' fruits and vegetable preferences. So those are the qualitative data's findings, and overall they made kids think that vegetables rock. So if you want to know more about the academic component of this, the community-based partnership component, we have a poster that we're going to be presenting during the session just before lunch, and we would love to talk to you.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.